You can measure the size of an elephant. You can clock the speed of a cheetah, but you can't quantify the heart of a kings, queens, and in-betweens. Welcome to Dr. Boxing Talk. Stream starts now.
The champ is here! 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 The champ is here!
If I tell you I'm good, probably you will say I'm boasting. If I tell you I'm no good, you know one line.
Yo, 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 what it do, what it do? What is this? New Year's Eve is crazy. Oh my goodness. 2026. We almost in the mix, you know what I'm talking about? Oh my Lord. 2026, man. I'm glad, 2025 was, I don't want to complain, man. 2025 was great because every day that you're alive is great, right? Every day you get to breathe every moment. But man, 2025 was a rough little ride, but hey, I'm grateful that I made it through. You know what I'm saying? I'm grateful for y'all too. Thank God for that, man. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dude and dudettes, hermanos, mi hermanas, homies and homies, brethren and sisters, prince and princesses, ladies and lads, kings and queens, and everything in between. Y'all know what time it is. Doctor's in the house. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. We are here on this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day, man. God is good, God is good, We just got to keep pushing. We got to keep pushing. I can't believe it, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. I can't believe that we 2025 is over, man. The time went by fast, And you see, it's cold. I'm in Florida. It might not be cold to everybody else, but I'm in Florida. I'm cold. You see, I got on a sweater. You know me, I be tank topped out. I ain't in no tank top there. It's a little chilly, Billy. You know what I'm talking about? It's a little chilly. So, but yeah, let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. I got the window open too, like a goofy, but I like to feel the brisk air. It gets me going and keeps, the blood flowing and makes my skin up, keep my skin up, give me stuff to talk about and stuff like that, and get my energy flowing, But yeah, man, we have some things to talk about. Not much. We're just gonna go over the BTF Boxing Awards, which is a boxing talk family for those of you that are late. You know what I'm talking about? NTB live talk is also NahmTalmBout. Like, know what I'm talking about for those of you that are kind of lacking the southern twang. So we have a lot of acronyms in this show. Maybe that's the engineer in me. You use a lot of acronyms from NASA to AFRL to DEWs to all types of things, so I'm very fond of the acronym. So DBT is Dr. Boxing Talk. So yeah, we're here to talk about some things, man. Mostly, primarily the awards. I want to end 2025 with boxing on a good note, on a good note, because there was some things like we had some couple losses. Anthony Joshua lost his team members and friends. Condolences to them and their families. Obviously, we lost another great in Ricky Hatton, and a lot of folks, man. A couple whose names escape me, but a couple Japanese boxers succumbed to their injuries. A couple Ghanaian boxers succumbed to their injuries, suffered in the ring. There's a lot of folks. If I'm missing anybody, God forgive me, which I know I am. But yeah, like Arturo Gotti's son, So there's been a lot of past. So I want to focus on the high notes, like accomplishments that were made in boxing, and I think that's only appropriate, because we got to be thankful. And I've seen a lot of great boxing. I'm not gonna lie, this year, man. This year, a lot of people we might talk trash, always find things to talk about, to complain about, but we could also talk about some good stuff. And there's some good stuff that happened this year, transpired this year in the realm of boxing. So I appreciate it. Could have been better, but it was good. You feel me? But before we get to all that, let's go ahead and bow our heads and say our prayers. Thank the Most High. Please join me. If you don't indulge in the faith, well, sit back, have a coke and a smile. We will be back shortly. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for your blessings. Thank you for guiding us into another day. Almost done with 2025. We just thank you for every day that you let us survive, and every day that you let us thrive, and every day that when we're down, you give us hope to keep going, and the courage to keep going, to know that tomorrow is going to be better. No matter what we're going through, it's always going to be better, and that gives us strength, that we walk by faith and not by sight. And we just ask you that we have a prosperous new year, not just 2026, but 2027, 2028, 2038, and beyond. We just ask for every day to be blessed and prosperous. And we just ask you that if we are traveling, to keep us safe, let us enjoy our family, our loved ones. And if we're not in the physical presence of our loved ones, let us keep them in our thoughts, and just enjoy solitude and see the lesson that we're supposed to learn, and continue to be a beacon of hope and a shining presence for others. And let us always focus on and remember to leave a lasting impression, and leave every place a little bit better than it was before we got there. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Woo, leave every place better than what it was before you got there. Ain't that some hard, bro? I be hitting like Mike, don't it? I be hitting like Mike, Fredo. You feel me? Let's go ahead and hit this roll call. We got my brother, mi hermano Carnal, Oscar Perez, in the building. He say he's in Mexico right now. Viva la Mexico. You know what I'm talking about? Big member in the building. Viva la America. Viva la Nigeria. Viva la Jamaica. Viva la UK. Everywhere, man. Viva everywhere, man. All my brethren and sister. Shout out to my brother Fredo in the building. He said, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, my brother. Happy New Year to you. Oh, yeah. Big George Foreman, the late, great Big George Foreman, passed away this year, too. Mike McCall. Yeah, man. Kwai. Yep. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. God forget. See, there's so many people, It seems, but, that's life, right? Life, only one of the very few things are certain in life. And one of the certainties is death. Just as sure as you take your first breath, you're going to take your last, We just don't know when and where it's going to happen, But yeah, man, we have a great month of January. We definitely do. We have a lot to look forward to, We always have a great day to look forward to. Every day is a great day, that we make it to. But let's talk about this boxing, man. Like I said, I think we have a lot to be grateful for boxing for 2025. Don't get me wrong. Of course, there was some nonsense, There was some things that were disappointing, like couple cheaters, couple people that didn't actually have fights, couple people that declined rematches. We have a couple people that, pop dirty. Like I said, we have a couple people that are trying to sabotage boxing. We have a couple people that are trying to hinder big fights, But even with all that, despite all that, we had some good fights, man. We had Beterbiev and Bivol. A lot of people forget Beterbiev and Bivol, that was this year. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people forget, even though Keyshawn was disappointed, he did win his first title this year. Abdullah Mason just won his first title this year. We had Lamont Roach. Lamont Roach had 2 draws that he didn't like, but those are good fights. You see what I'm saying? So we had a couple fight of the year candidates, like the Sebastian Hernandez versus Junto Nakatani. A lot of people are just ridiculous. I thought that was a great fight. A lot of people are in controversy. Like I seen one boxing writer. This is on the actual website now. He's a pugilist enthusiast, right? This man literally wrote that Junto Nakatani was a beneficiary of a robbery, but then he said it was a very close fight. Let me repeat that. He said it was Junto Nakatani was a beneficiary of a robbery because he only won so they could keep the Inoue fight alive. But then they also said that it was a fight of the year candidate because it was such a close fight. Is that not contradictory?
What?
How can you have a robbery in a very close fight? He literally said it could have went either way, but said it was a robbery at the same time simultaneously. It's contradictory in nature, bro. And this is a guy that writes on Boxing Scene. Boxing Scene is supposed to be a reputable website for boxing, right? That's the nonsense I be talking about, bro. It's not enough to just say that, oh, that was a good fight, and maybe the person that I thought could have won didn't come out victorious, but it was still a great fight and it could have went either way. You have to say it's a robbery. It was not a robbery. Junto Nakatani versus Sebastian Hernandez was not a robbery. It was a close fight. I thought the right person won. I actually scored fight. Oh, let me tell you this too. The person that wrote that, he also did not give his scorecard. You know that's what people do, right? They'll say it's a robbery, but they won't tell you what their scorecard was. And to me, that's indicative of you not scoring. So if you don't score, it's not obligatory for you to score as an observer. But if you're not going to score, how dare you say something's a robbery if you didn't even score the fight? Exactly. You just want to complain about some stuff. So to me, I thought the right person won. I scored it 7-5 in favor of Junto Nakatani, reflecting the score of 115-113. But if you scored it in favor of Sebastian Hernandez, that's cool. But don't tell me it's a robbery. It could have went either way. It's like Lamont Roach and Pitbull Cruz. I thought Pitbull Cruz won the fight 114-112. Because remember, there was a knockdown. I thought it was 114-112 in favor of Pitbull Cruz. But if you scored it for Lamont Roach, that's cool. But don't say it was a robbery. It was a close fight. The nature of a close fight is that it could have went either way. And if it could go either way, then how could somebody get robbed simultaneously? It literally is contradictory. But anyway, man, stuff like that gets on my nerves. I ain't gonna lie. That's what, it's a hypocrisy of it all, man. Shout out to my brother Lance in the building. Shout out to my brother Just Do in the building, my guy right there, man. Y'all check out my brother Just Do, man. Live at 4 o'clock every single day, Monday through Friday. Yeah, man. We got my brother Jitterbug in the building. What's good, brethren? He said, Jitterbug says Junto definitely won that, but people won't bother to rewatch the fight. I ain't gonna say I'm not gonna say it's definitive. You know, I like Junto's one of my favorite fighters, right? I'm not gonna, so people gonna think I'm biased when I say that, but Canelo's one of my favorite fighters, and I tell people all the time, I thought Lara beat him. You know, I thought that it was a close fight, could have went either way, but I thought Lara won that fight. So I would like to say that I'm I think I'm the most unbiased, objective person in the game. You know what I'm saying? And Just Do's one of them as well. My guy Ryan's one of them as well. Shawa is another one too. Shout out to her. But what I'm saying is that just because I like somebody doesn't mean I'm going to score it for them. It's like with Pitbull. Like I said, if you scored it for Lamont Roach, that's cool. But I thought it was very realistic that Pitbull could have won. In my opinion, he won. It was a draw. Cool. I thought Junto Nakatani, Sebastian Hernandez, I thought that was a close fight too. I thought the right person won. But if you scored it a draw, cool. If you scored it for Sebastian Hernandez, cool. One of those judges, 118-110, is ridiculous. They should be fired. But I still thought, despite that the right person won. But don't make it seem like, oh, Sebastian Hernandez whooped Junto Nakatani. There's no way Junto Nakatani got whooped. You see what I'm saying? Like the first 5-6 rounds I gave to Junto. You see what I'm saying? Hernandez came on strong at the second half of the fight. But what about the first half? You can't just score. Like the first 5 rounds don't disappear because somebody looked good the second half of the fight. The second 7 rounds. You know what I'm saying? The 7 rounds after the 5 rounds. Just because somebody looked good the first 6 rounds doesn't mean that the last 6 rounds don't exist. And vice versa. Just because someone looked good the last 6 rounds doesn't mean the first 6 rounds didn't exist. That's why it's imperative for you to score. So you don't have to recollect that. Because if you rely on your recollection, then what happens? You're going to favor what just recently happened. You see what I'm saying? It's like the saying, it's not what you have done for me, it's what have you done for me lately. So of course, if the latest action is somebody winning, you're gonna almost naturally erase what happened before that. That's why it's important for you to mark down what you scored in the first round, so you don't have to worry about you don't have to rely on your recollection. You could go back to your scorecard and in the 12th round and see, oh yeah, I gave the first round to Junto. The 12th round I gave Sebastian. The second round I gave to Sebastian. The 8th round I gave to Junto. The 5th round I gave to, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, Isak Pitbull Cruz, if you had Lamont Roach beating Isak, cool. I had Isak winning, but I don't think it was robbery. Same with Devin Haney and Lomachenko. I like Devin Haney more than I like Lomachenko, but I thought Lomachenko edged it out. But was it a robbery? No, because I had like 4 swing rounds, and I scored at 7-5 for Lomachenko. So if you give those swing rounds, depending on how you went with those swing rounds, you might have Devin Haney, you might have Lomachenko winning. Like, we got to stop. Just because somebody we're not rooting for, just because somebody that we're not rooting for wins doesn't mean it was a robbery. Like, stop it, man. It's insane. But then there's, but there's still people out there that think that PEDs don't matter and cheating don't matter. You don't have to follow certain protocols. As long as they like you, you could do no wrong. You're infallible. A lot of these groupies, they want to be impregnated by their favorite fighter. They don't want to watch them fight. they want, what I'm talking about? They want to blow the whistle. You know what I'm talking about? Just do. They want to blow the whistle. They don't want to watch their favorite fighters fight. They want to blow the whistle. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. But that is what it is. Shout out to my brother Lee Jackson in the building. He said, after rewatching that, I have it 9-3. Yeah. It's crazy, bro. People are crazy, man. Yeah, it's wild. But anyway, like I said, that made the best way. But anyway, Sebastian Hernandez and Junto Nakatani, if you're not a fan of those fighters, to me, you should be a fan of both, especially Sebastian Hernandez, because you should have been already familiar with the former unified Ring Magazine champion at bantamweight, which is Junto Nakatani, right? He was undefeated, had the WBC belt. He beat his undefeated countryman Ryosuke Nishida for the IBF belt, and he acquired the Ring Magazine belt before making his debut at 122 against a heavy-hitting, undefeated Mexican contender, Sebastian Hernandez. To me, what that fight showed me more than a robbery, it showed me that Sebastian Hernandez is the real deal. I'm talking about real deal Holyfield. Shout out to the legend Holyfield. I ain't saying he's that good, but I think that Sebastian Hernandez would get everybody a run for their money in 122, not just Junto Nakatani. In fact, I like Naoya Inoue too. He's great, but I said this before the fight and I said this after the fight. It was just reinforced. Junto Nakatani fought 4 times famously, right? Everybody's saying, oh yeah, he fought 4 times in 2025. That's amazing. His activity level is superb, right? We don't really see that often, so that's something to applaud. However, his 4 opponents were Ramon Cardenas, Yi Jun Kim, MJ Akhmadaliev, and David Allen Picasso Romero. I will bet anybody money in the chat that Sebastian Hernandez would beat 3 out of those 4 opponents I just named. Why is that important? It's important to reinforce the circumstances in which that fight with Junto Nakatani transpired. It was Junto Nakatani going against a strong contender that would likely give anybody at super bantamweight trouble. That's number 1. Number 2, he's fighting a strong contender with a huge with a high KO ratio that's acclimated to the weight. He's been a 122 fighter. That's number 2. Number 3, Junto Nakatani is making his debut at a new weight class. Now, I know it's only 4 pounds difference from 118 to 122, but you still have to gain the familiarity with the landscape in which you're now fighting at. It's a new division. I'm not giving him excuses, but I'm just saying it's kind of understandable why he would struggle. He's fighting a good opponent at a new weight class. What's wrong with that? And not to mention, if Sebastian Hernandez was fighting David Allen Picasso Romero, I guarantee you would have now Sebastian Hernandez like I had before. But now that you're familiar with the guy, I guarantee you the only person that you would pick out of Naoya Inoue's opponents to beat Sebastian Hernandez, if he's going to beat him, is MJ Akhmadaliev. Everybody else, Sebastian Hernandez, I guarantee he would beat. So what I'm saying is that Naoya Inoue is so great that I think it means something that Sebastian Hernandez would beat Naoya Inoue's opponents, besides maybe one. So that means that it's indicative of him fighting a good opponent in Sebastian Hernandez, not just him struggling. That's what I'm saying. So I think Naoya Inoue would beat Hernandez, but I'm saying I think it would be a good fight. You see what I'm saying? Shout out to my brother Boxer with 2-4 in the building. Lance said, I'm not trying to get pregnant, Doc. That shit's expensive. It's crazy. Yeah, I thought that was a great fight though. But yeah, so let's turn up, man. Let's talk about these Boxing Talk Awards, man. The BTF Family Awards. BTF family, that's redundant. The Boxing Talk Family Awards, BTF, you feel me? We have a lot of awards to talk about. I want people to call in and give their thoughts off, because I know you're going to disagree with me. Some of these awards is done by the people. Now, hey, we a family around here. There's no autocracy. It is a democracy. So some of the tougher ones that I couldn't make a decision on, I actually took it to the polls on YouTube, and people have responded. So, like, for example, the Women's Fighter of the Year, I went with the people's choice, not my choice. And there was a couple other ones I want the people's choice as well, and not my choice. So this is not just reflecting me. The majority of them are reflecting my opinion, but some of them are not just reflecting me. So let's pull it up. I want to pull it up real quick. Hold on, let me pull it up real quick. All right, so I'm not going to keep it up, but here it is right here. This is the Boxing Talk Family Awards for 2025. We have the Pound for Pound King, Fighter of the Year, Women Fighter of the Year, so the inaugural one, a Buzz of the Year, Trainer of the Year, and I'm going to explain what all these are, just in case some people are unfamiliar with some of these awards, because some of them are new and unique and authentic to our channel. So when you see them somewhere else, just know where they got it from. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so let's keep it going. He said, Boxing with 2-4 says, I'm whooping everybody. Inoue and Nakatani fought this shit. That's crazy. Don't do my boy like that. Shout out to Jitterbug. He said Sebastian is a smaller Subaru. Tough for anyone. I think Junto had a hard time because his power didn't work, so his gameplay wasn't effective. I don't know. I think his power, yeah, his power didn't work to knock him out. But look at Sebastian Hernandez's face. His power worked. It just didn't stop him. You see what I'm saying? It's like with, with Aesop Pitbull Cruz, another fight that people say is controversial. I don't think that fight's controversial. I thought Gervonta clearly won. It was just went the distance. So because Junto Nakatani, just like Gervonta Tank Davis, I think that they're victims of their own prowess, and their prowess is their power. So if you fight a guy that's strong, that's known for power, and they don't knock you out, then automatically people are going to think it's a close fight. You see, which Sebastian and Junto was a close fight, but I'm just saying like if somebody goes the distance with Tank, if someone goes the distance with Beterbiev, they're going to think that their power wasn't effective. No, their power is effective. I think that if Junto's power wasn't effective, he probably would have got stopped. The only reason why Sebastian Hernandez didn't come forward with even more intensity and fervor and alacrity is because Junto was bing, bing, bing. You know what I'm saying? The big bangs was hitting like bombs. Look at his face afterwards. So I understand what you're saying, but I slightly disagree. Big Bang Nakatani was still Big Bang Nakatani. It just didn't stop him. You see what I'm saying? He just didn't. Sebastian Hernandez didn't get Andrew Maloney. You know what I'm saying? Like, remember how he knocked out Andrew Maloney? He didn't get Andrew Maloney. He didn't get Vincent Astrolabioed. You know what I'm saying? So he didn't get stopped, but them shots were effective. I could argue that Junto Nakatani's shots were more effective than Sebastian Hernandez's shots on Junto Nakatani. It's just that Sebastian Hernandez was throwing a higher quantity once, he didn't slow down. So, but yeah, let's keep it going, man. So let's go. So we have the pound for pound king this year is Terrence Bud Crawford, man, for the BTF Awards, which is Boxing Talk Family Boxing Awards 2025. We have to give the pound for pound king, Terrence Crawford, is just due. I mean, right? We got to give him his credit, right? I mean, what else can you do? There's nothing really to argue. The man is the first ever 3 times undisputed champion in the male, in the 4-belt era on the male side. The first ever to do it was Clarissa Shields. Shout out to Clarissa Shields. You know what I'm saying? We got to show love to the ladies. One time for the ladies. But in addition to being the first ever 3-time undisputed champion in the 4-belt era on the male side, Terrence Crawford followed that was following him being the first ever 2-time undisputed champion in the 4-belt era. That was followed by the great Alexander Usyk and followed up by the great Naia Inoue. But Terrence Crawford is not only breaking records, but he's also setting trends. You see what I'm saying? So shout out to Terrence Bud Crawford. I don't think there's any argument there. 3 times undisputed, undefeated while doing it, and beating the face of boxing, Saul Canelo Alvarez, aka Cinnamon, at a higher weight division to claim that 3 times undisputed, beating the man at the man's game. Terrence Bud Crawford, pound for pound king. That's easy for me. Now this is the one that got a little difficult. This one was difficult, and which is fighter of the year. So this was difficult on both sides, right? So we have the women's fighter of the year. We're gonna start off with the ladies. Ladies first. And this is the one that I did a poll on. I did a poll on this on YouTube, and a lot of people voted, right? So there's some people that were up for the discussion in this one for Women's Fighter of the Year. Of course, you have Clarissa Shields. She was defended her undisputed title at heavyweight 2 times against Lanny Daniels and Daniel Perkins, right? That's great. We have Sherneka Johnson, who acquired undisputed by beating Sharetta Metcalf and defending her undisputed title. We also had, who else? Alif Nur Turhan. Alif Nur Turhan went crazy from Turkey. She capped her year. I think she fought 3 times this year, and she capped her year by beating the undefeated Brazilian woman, Beatriz Fierro. So, and Alif Nur Turhan she's a belt holder now, so she's also a contender. Of course, Gabriela Fedora, she fought twice. She defended her undisputed title at titles, plural, at 112. So we have quite a few people. We also have Tierra Brown. Tierra Brown is who I voted for. Sky Nicholson is one of my favorite fighters too, but she actually was upset, because Tierra Brown was the underdog, slight underdog, but she was an underdog, right? And she fought 3 times this year, and she's from Florida, say 1 time from the Floridians. But Tierra Brown went in there and dethroned Sky Nicholson, upset her, and defended her title for the WBC belt that she has. So I went with the Dark Menace, Tierra Brown, for my vote, but I took it to the polls because I knew it was difficult. A lot of people voted for Sherneka Johnson. Some people voted for Tierra Brown. She's actually accumulated the least amount of tallies, least amount of votes, but the most votes was between Clarissa Shields and Sherneka Johnson, and Clarissa Shields actually had more votes than Sherneka Johnson. So shout out to Clarissa Shields. She is the BTF Boxing Awards 2025 Women Fighter of the Year, man. Shout out to Clarissa Shields, the GOAT. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to her. And then so moving on for fighter of the year, we're going to go to the male side, the male counterparts. This was difficult as well because, of course, like we said, we have Naoya Inoue, fought 4 times, spectacular. But you know me, I value quality over quantity. And when I say that is because no disrespect to his opponents, right? But we have to be honest. A lot of people's first time hearing of David Allen Picasso Romero was when he fought Inoue. David Allen Picasso Romero, in my personal opinion, yes, albeit he was ranked number 1 in the WBC, he was not an ordered mandatory. That's number 1. But number 2, I thought he lost to Azat Hovhannisyan. So I thought he shouldn't be undefeated. And then I thought he also lost to Kayonosuke Kameda, who he won by majority decision. I don't think he should be undefeated, in my personal opinion. And nobody thought that Picasso was going to win. If you knew Picasso, nobody thought that was a threat to Naoya Inoue. And Naoya Inoue proceeded to smoke him 12 rounds to 1. His other fight was Yi Jun Kim on a late replacement. He replaced Sam Goodman, who was ranked highly number 1 in the WBO. That's okay. Late replacement, can't do much about that, but he wasn't really a threat. Ramon Cardenas was literally a lift driver. He had a loss prior to fighting Inoue. He lost to a guy named Danny Flores. Danny Flores literally has 17 losses right now. Look it up. So Ramon Cardenas, although he knocked down Naoya Inoue, that was not really supposed to happen. That was against the script. You know what I'm saying? He went against the grain with that. So Naoya Inoue, I think that was more of a slip up than it was indicative of Ramon Cardenas being a great contender. But MJ Madaliev, now that was a WBA ordered mandatory. That was a great win. I think MJ Madaliev could potentially be a champion. So to me, that was a great win, and Inoue whooped him, right? Tapales only had, Akhmadaliev only had 1 loss prior to Inoue, was against Marlon Tapales, and it was a split decision loss, right? So you could argue that he could have won that. But anyway, that was a good win. But the other 3, that was just anybody. Like Tufo said, he could beat Naoya Inoue's opponents. I don't think I disagree with him with Junta Nakatani's opponents, but Naoya Inoue's opponents, yeah, maybe besides MJ Akhmadaliev, like they weren't good opponents. So to me, quantity is good. It's great to see Naoya Inoue fight because he's one of the best, phenomenal fighters. So I love to see him fight. I'd rather him be active than inactive. But we're gonna call it for what it is, right? People have no problem saying that Weez Malima was a bad opponent, right? People have no problem saying Weez Malima was trash.
Know your fucking place, trash.
Weez Malima was an IBO champion and he only had 1 decision loss to Aaron McKenna, right? So that's okay. You say Weez Malima's trash, but if you're going to say he's trash, then why don't you say that Ramon Cardenas and Picasso and Yi Jun Kim are not good? You see what I'm saying? It's like, bro, we have to be honest, and that's what we do over here. We're unbiased, man. You could critique people's opponents, but critique everybody's opponents fairly. When Canelo fought Edgar Berlanga, right? Edgar Berlanga, people say, oh, that's not a good opponent. He was trash.
Know your fucking place, trash.
They also say William Skull was trash.
Know your fucking place, trash.
And that's cool. If you want to say Cinnamon's opponents were trash, that's cool. Those are his last 2 opponents, right? Even Jaime Munguia was his last 3 opponents, right? They said Jaime Munguia was trash. At the time, Jaime Munguia was highly rated. He was highly ranked and he was undefeated. Edgar Berlanga was ranked number 1 by the WBA and he was undefeated. William Skull was undefeated and an IBF champion. And that fight was to reclaim undisputed. But people still say they're trash, right? So if you're going to say they're trash, then don't tell me that David Allen Picasso was good because he's ranked highly and undefeated. He was ranked number 1 in the WBC and he was undefeated. Cool. Edgar Berlanga was also ranked number 1 and undefeated by the WBA. Nobody says that when they're talking about Canelo's opponents. They just say Berlanga was trash. So that's what I'm saying. So it's a lot of disingenuous stuff. People say, oh, if you critique Inoue's opponents, you're hating on Inoue. Inoue is top 3 pound for pound. Well, top 2 now because Bud retired. If you want to have Inoue number 1 pound for pound, that's cool. But don't tell me I can't critique his opponents because I critique Jerome Boots Ennis' opponents, just like you do. I critique Canelo's opponents, just like you do. I critique Terrence Bud Crawford's opponents, just like you do. So why do we have to stop critiquing when it comes to Inoue's opponents? You're just a groupie. Like I said, you're just one of those people that want to get impregnated by Inoue. You don't want to watch Inoue. So, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to watch him fight. You just want to watch him, you just want to see him get impregnated. He said Picasso is pretty good. Yeah, true. Yeah, Picasso is pretty good. Yeah, you're right.
You dumbass.
This man never watched David Allen Picasso fight before. So yeah, okay. David Allen Picasso is good. So is Edgar Berlanga. Simple. These are the same people that tell me Picasso's good, but then tell me that Terrence Bud Crawford fighting Israel Madrimov. Israel Madrimov's not good. He's inexperienced. Undefeated champion at the new weight classes. He's not good, but David Allen Picasso Romero is good. Yeah, you're right.
Shut up, bitch.
I got 3 words for you. I got 3 words for you. Shut up, bitch. Hey, shout out to my guy Claude. I'm in the pulpit as you preach. You feel me? Hey, we out here. I'm just saying, like, people try. I could only control what I say. I can't control how you feel about what I said. You know what I'm saying? So people try to make it seem like if you critique somebody's opponents, you're saying they're not good. Inoue is one of the best to ever do it. He's an undisputed, 2-time undefeated champion. It doesn't get much more amazing than that. But that doesn't mean that you're infallible. If I could critique Terrence Crawford's opponents, I could critique Inoue's opponents. If I could critique Inoue's opponents, I could critique Usyk's opponents. If I could critique Clarissa Shields' opponents, I could critique Katie Taylor's opponents. You see what I'm saying? So it just be fair. But people, it's like it's like they self-destruct. If you don't say Inoue is the best thing since sliced bread, then it's like they self-destruct or short circuit. But yeah, Inoue is a beast, but his opponents, it's not enough for me to get fighter of the year. Now, to me, Bam Rodriguez, that's somebody who's impressive. And he only had 2 fights, but what were his 2 fights? Both of his 2 fights were against an undefeated champion. That's impressive. You see what I'm saying? Like I said, Inoue beating MJ Ahmadali, that fight was impressive. The other 3, not so much. Bam Rodriguez, to me, he was runner-up for fighter of the year. He fought Puma Martinez, the Argentinian or the Argentine undefeated champion for the. He was a former unified champion. He had the IBF belt and the WBA belt, but he lost the IBF belt when he pursued a rematch with Kazuta Ioka. So he fought him and beat him, stopped him, right? He stopped him in the 10th round, I believe it was. And then he fought the South African undefeated champion WBO Fumaleli Kafu, the undefeated South African WBO champion Fumaleli Kafu, who just came off of a win over Kosei Tanaka, who's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame. Bam Rodriguez stopped him as well. Those 2 wins are fantastic wins. So in my personal opinion, Bam Rodriguez is the runner-up. But you could also consider fighter of the year Fabio Worthy. Fabio Worthy went in 2 fights. He came back from losing every moment against Justice Hooney and knocked him out. Like, it's a Kobe clutch moment. Rest in peace, Kobe. And then Fabio Worthy also was an underdog against Joseph Parker and beat him while he was on PEDs. He was on that booger sugar, that cocaine, that white girl, that 8-ball. You see what I'm saying? So he was on that blow. So Fabio Worthy could be considered as well. But for me, it is Terrence Crawford as a fighter of the year because Terrence Crawford, like I said, he might have only fought 1 time, so the quantity isn't there. But like I said, quantity should not supersede quality, and it never does, right? So I think that 1 fight that he fought, traversing multiple weight divisions, going against a guy that's undisputed in that weight division, the face of boxing, my favorite fighter, Saul Canelo Alvarez, doesn't get much better than that. So to be the first ever 3-time undisputed, that's a fighter of the year, and retire. He had the moment in 2025 that every fighter wishes they had. You see what I'm saying? So for me, Terrence Bud Crawford is a fighter of the year, with the runner-up being Bam Rodriguez. Shout out to Albert. He says Inoue is a featherweight. Is he featherweight? I know 122 is bantamweight. Yeah, super bantamweight. Shout out to Albert. He said, and 126 super featherweight. No. 130 is super featherweight. 126 is featherweight. What weight is Inoue actually? I believe Inoue could give Espinosa a good fight at 126. Super, like you said, super bantamweight is 122. Super featherweight is 130. That's Oshiki Foster, Emmanuel Navarrete, Sugar Nunez, and Jazza Dickens, right? That's super featherweight. Featherweight is 126. I think Espinosa is the best featherweight. You know, so the champions at featherweight right now are WBO is El Divino Espinosa. Rafael Espinosa. IBF is Angelo Leo, the American Angelo Leo. The Mexican WBO champion is Rafael Espinosa. The WBC champion is vacant right now. It was Stephen Coolboy Fulton, but he vacated when he fought Oshiki Foster. And now Bruce Choo Carrington will be fighting Carlos Castro for that vacant WBC belt. And the WBA belt is a UK guy, Nick Ball. I think Inoue beats I think he'll beat, let's say the winner of Shushu and Castro, no disrespect to them, no matter who wins, I think Inoue beats them for the WBC belt. I think Inoue beats Nick Ball for the WBA belt. Nick Ball fighting Brandon Figueroa. I think Inoue will beat Brandon Figueroa too. The IBF champion is Angelo Leo. He'll be fighting Rais Alim. I think Inoue beats both of them. Espinosa different. Espinosa different. I don't know. In my personal opinion, El Divino is the best at 126. You know, he's like 6'2". I don't think Inoue is going to fight him. And I don't blame him. I don't think Inoue has to go to 126. I think he could stay at 122. But if he goes to 126, I think that he should fight everybody not named Espinosa. I think if he fights Espinosa, I think Divino will beat him. I'll be honest. But it'll be a good fight. Either way, can Inoue win? Of course. Inoue is great. He's great. He could do anything. You see what I'm saying? In that squared circle. But I don't think he beats Espinosa, Albert. In my personal opinion. But I'm not mad at anybody picking him though. Shout out to my brother Joaquin in the building. We got my brother Clone in the building. Big member in the building. Shout out to Just Draw. What's good? What's good, my brother? Clone says, I'm being biased because I really enjoy the Haney comeback story. I'm going to give him fight. Ooh, I'm not mad at that. Hey, Haney won an award and he won what you just said. Come back. We're going to get to that though. But Haney did win an award, Clone. So I'm not mad at that. I knew how he beat Brian Norman. Granted, not a Canelo caliber fighter, but I don't think people had him. Nah, him beating Brian Norman is phenomenal. He moved up to a new weight division and beat the guy. You know what I'm saying? The WBO champion, Brian Norman. So nah, don't feel bad about picking Devin Haney. I mean, don't feel bad about picking Nye anyway. Like this is just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And I just give you facts. So people, when they hear my facts, they can't argue with it. So they just say, oh, you hating. Oh, you don't like this person. They don't listen. You see, that goes back to what I said before. It's like once somebody hears something that they don't like, they self-destruct because they're emotional, you know. But when you give an opinion, it's just an opinion. You know, I'm just opine. It's just my opine, and I'm doing it with a mic. You see what I'm saying? And I have a lot of knowledge on the sport, and I tell you a lot of things that you don't know, that you didn't consider. You just say, oh, I like this guy, and he's the best. Nah, you got to tell me why. And you can't do that. So when people can't do that, they get emotional and cry like a little bitch they are. You know, they expose themselves. You know, so I think Inoue is great. If you pick Inoue to be fighter of the year, boom. If you pick Fabio, that's why I'm going through the list of nominees. If you picked Alif Nurturhan to be the women fighter of the year, that's cool. That's why they're nominees. You got to vote. You see what I'm saying? You got to think about it. But when I broke it down, somebody has to win. Everybody can't get an award. You see what I'm saying? For me, for fighter of the year, it's Terrence Crawford. If you picked Nye Inoue, cool. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people pick Canelo or pick Inoue or pick Usyk or pick Bud or pick Haney, and they don't have any explanation besides I like them and I'm infatuated with their left nut. That's it. That's all they have. You see what I'm saying? So when you give them facts, they get upset, you know. But anyway, fighter of the year is Terrence Bud Crawford. You feel me? Now let's move on to this is a what a call that is complete. This is a I've never seen anybody make this an award, right? This award before, but this is a new award, not a new award for this channel, but it's an award that we always talk about. It's Buzz of the Year. So Buzz of the Year is a person, the fighter that has been talked about the most this year. You see what I'm saying? And for me, the fighter that's profile increased significantly, exponentially, dramatically this year, just because of the fights that they've been in that been pleasing or controversial, or with it, whatever reason their following has went up and people anticipate their next fight. This is who wins Buzz of the Year. And I think that is undoubtedly Lamont Roach. For me, what Lamont Roach had that controversial draw with Gervonta Tank Davis, you see what I'm saying? That boosted his numbers so high, this man started twitching. Yeah. And then when he had that controversial draw with Isa Pitbull Cruz, that boosted up his numbers again. People from even Shakur wants to fight him. Yeah. And Keyshawn talk about fighting him. Yeah. And Gary Russell talk about fighting him. Yeah. So I think that Lamont Roach, man, I don't think that the fight with Pitbull was controversial. I thought a good outcome. I personally thought Pitbull edged it out 114-112, but I like Lamont Roach. I every time Lamont Roach fights, I'm watching. I watched his fights before with Fago McCrory. I watched his fights with Jamel Herring. I watched his fights with Tank, of course, and Pitbull. So Lamont Roach, I think he's a guy that people want to see. You see what I'm saying? So I think that even though he may not have acquired the results that he desired, I think that he could be satisfied that his buzz definitely went up. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Lamont Roach. And then now let's move on to I'm trying to think. The second, I'm trying to think who did I have for Buzz of the Year that was like had a big buzz too. You know, who had a big buzz too. That not really a huge buzz, but a buzz that people wanted to see what they do. It's just that they're a victim of their own division and a victim of the fact that they're not in a highly desired, I guess, you know, genre, part of the sport, category of the sport is a women's division. You know, a lot of people are looking forward to see what Gabriela Fundora and Sky Nicholson were going to do next as well. But I just think that it doesn't really touch what Lamont Roach did. Like, whether you want to see Lamont Roach win or lose, or whether you talk about him, he lost a Tank, or he beat Tank, or he lost to Isa Pitbull Cruz, or he beat Pitbull Cruz. You want to see if he was going to fight at 130, and fight his contemporaries there, or move up and fight Shakur Stevenson. A lot of people were talking about Lamont Roach, so he won Buzz of the Year. Now let's move on to Trainer of the Year. This one was tough. He said, Oscar said, AJ made it. Yeah, I'm not laughing at you, bro. I'm not laughing at you, bro. Nah, yeah, that's too soon, bro. That's too soon. Nah, Oscar wrong, bro. Oscar is raw. Oscar said, "What's up with you? How you ended the year? Hopefully with drinks." Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I don't drink, but I drink water and juice, so I'll be watered and juiced up. You know me. I do this boxing thing. I get my high off of exercise and watching boxing and analyzing boxing and eating good food and cookies. But I love me some cookies though. I love me some cookies. Oscar wrong, bro. Shout out to Tufo. He says, "Doc, you know Tank made superstar." Come on now. Hey, come on now. Talk to him, Tufo. Talk to him, Tufo. He said, "Come on, Doc. You know Tank makes superstars." That's a fact. That's a fact.
Yeah.
I mean, look, and I'll say another one too. Look at Frank Martin's buzz. Frank Martin has a buzz. We couldn't wait to see who Frank Martin was coming back against. So, like, when you got a buzz, man, you know, people want to see you fight. That's good. You see. Not saying you don't want to win, of course, but you can look at that as well. So, and I've always said that too. Shout out to Tufo. Like, that's why people want to fight Tank, because win or lose, your name's going to be up there. Look at Pitbull Cruz. Pitbull Cruz lost, and his name catapulted up because he fought a good fight against Tank. Lamont Roach's name catapulted up because he fought a good fight against Tank. Frank Martin lost and got knocked out, but he still fought. You know, he still won some rounds, so his name went up as well. So, you know, so yeah, Tank. I agree with Tufo, man. That's why a lot of people want to fight Tank, because you would get the biggest payday that you've had, especially at the lower divisions, and you know, people will want to watch you as long as you make a good representation of yourself. So shout out to the buzz of the year is Lamont Roach. Now, trainer of the year. This one's tough, man. I was gonna make a poll, but I said, you know what, I'm gonna make my decision on this one. This one's tough. I think that there was a lot of good trainers this year, you know, some ups and downs. That's how training goes. You had Ben Davison, you had Andy Lee with his cheating fighter Joseph Parker. You had of course you had guys like Shingo Inoue. You know, not only does he have his amazing son Naoya Inoue, but he also has another champion in Takuma Inoue. But a lot of people don't realize that Takuma Inoue is a beneficiary of having back-to-back title shots, right? He had his WBA title, he lost to Seiya Susumi, and then his very next fight he fought for the WBC title against Tenshin Nasukawa. So you got to mention that as well. Your quantity of attempts does matter as well. Some fighters get more opportunities than others, and they get it back-to-back consecutively. So you got to mention that as well. But Shingo Inoue is also up there. Don Charles is up there. He had his ups and downs. Not to mention Shingo Inoue also has their cousin Koki Inoue as well. But to me, shout out to Albert, exactly where I'm going. Bomac had a great year. He did have a bad performance with Chris Eubank Jr., right? I know the circumstances surrounding the fight with Conor Benn weren't conducive necessarily for a good performance, but you signed up for it. We got to judge the performance of the fighter, and Chris Eubank's performance in the second fight. The first fight was good. The second fight was terrible. It was abysmal. So that goes against Bomac, but he did have a great year with Terrence Bud Crawford, right? You know, doing what he did. And then not to mention, he had a decent, he had some other fighters that did okay, but remember Steven So Cold Nelson lost. What's the dude's name? What's my boy's name? I just lost it. He had a draw with Christian and Billy. Lester Martinez, he had a draw. That's not bad. It was Fight of the Year candidate, but it was still a draw. So I think while Bomac had the highest high, he had the highest peak, I can't say that he had the best year collectively. To me, collectively speaking, Robert Garcia and gosh dang Bozy in this. Now, this was tough. For me, this was tough. You know, Robert Garcia has guys like Virgil Ortiz, he's not a full champion, but he is undefeated. He is an interim WBC champion. He has Bam Rodriguez, who had a phenomenal year. He had was he training Rayo when Rayo got smoked by Gary Antoroso? I think he was. Yeah, he was training Rayo, so that wasn't a good look. So he got smoked. But then he also, like I said, he had Bam. He has Raymond Morataya, who's a champion right now at IBF 135. So he had an up and down year, but mostly up, right? So Robert Garcia did his thing. But Bozy, man, Bozy just acquired Jack Catterall. He made Jack Catterall like a whole new fighter, fighting off his front foot against Echo Esserman. He has a female champion, O'Shea Jones. She's a 154-pound IBF champion, junior middleweight. He has, of course, his son Boots Ennis, who's a former unified Ring Magazine champion at 147, moved up at 154 against Luis Malima. That was not a good opponent, but he still did the job, right? But he did have a low moment with Stephen Coolboy Fulton, right? Stephen Coolboy Fulton, who was a champion, he acquired that this year as well when he beat Brandon Figueroa for the second time for the WBC belt at featherweight. But he did fight again, and he fought Oshiki Foster trying to move up, and he got smoked. I don't think he won a round on my scorecard. So that's a bad performance. But I think the other things in consideration, taking account for other things, I think that overcomes that one slight. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention he had some other guys, smaller fighters that fought and won. He actually had a fighter, I can't remember his name right now, but at the fight that I attended for MVP in Orlando, he had a fight on that card. He had a fighter on that card that won. So I think, me personally, that Bozy Ennis had the best year as a trainer. So for Bozy, for trainer of the year 2025, last year was Robert Garcia. This year was Bozy Ennis. So I have Bozy winning 2025, man, in my personal opinion. Shout out to my brother Oscar Perez. He said trader of the year, if you go by improving fighters, Team Ennis. Body of work, Robert Garcia. Yeah, man, I think you can't go wrong. If you have trader of the year, Robert Garcia, I'm cool. If you have Bomac, I'm cool. But for me, Robert and Bozy are ahead of Bomac and Shingo and Don Charles and Ben Davison and Bob Santos. For me, Bozy and Robert Garcia led the way, and I think that Bozy edged it out, in my personal opinion. Joaquin said Bozy, he agrees 100%. Clone says Bozy, don't he be telling fighters he just fighting the corner? And Clone said, he said, Bozy, don't he be telling fighters to just fight in the corner? I ain't gonna lie, that one clip was bad. When he told Boots to just fight against Karen, that was bad. But once again, we can't take a small sample size and apply it to everything. You know what I'm saying? If he was just telling people to just fight, he wouldn't be so successful, man. But shout out to Clone trolling, man. We got Yes Indeed Boxing in the building one time for the ladies. Shout out to Yes Indeed, big member in the building as well. If you want to hear some dope boxing content, check out Queen Shawala. Yeah, man, it's always dope to have women in the space, any space, you know. At least I feel that way. So it's dope to have some good content creators and thinkers in the space as well. You know, this one just happens to also be a woman, makes it even doper. So shout out to Queen Shawala Ya, aka Yes Indeed Boxing, or should I say Yes Indeed Boxing, aka Shawala Ya. Y'all check out her channel when you get a chance. You won't regret it. Shout out to Joaquin. He said, yeah, he has a good stable. Yeah, man, he has a good stable, man. So like I said, shout out to Andy Lee. Shout out to Don Charles. Shout out to Bob Santos. Shout out to Ben Davison. Shout out to Shingo Inoue, shout out to Bomac, but to me, shout out to Robert Garcia, but shout out to Bozy Ennis. I think Bozy Ennis is one trainer of the year for me and my standards. But that's just my, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I elected to opine and give my opinion. That doesn't mean you have to agree, but this is for BTF Boxing Awards. And like I said, this is not an autocracy, it is a democracy. But some of them I picked, some of them the Boxing Talk family picked. And like I said, you could call in. We're going to open the phone lines a little later, but we're going to keep running because we got a lot more to cover. So performance of the year. Woo! This one was tough. No, this one was easy, but it became tougher as the year went on, right? The performance of the year, there was quite a few that had some great performances. Armando Resendez had a great performance against Caleb Plant, but that's more applicable to another category, right? In my opinion. Ben Rodriguez has some great, had a great performance, right? We had Alif Nurturhan. To me, that performance against Beatrice Fierro was phenomenal, man. I was not expecting, I ain't gonna lie, and this might sound bad, but I need to see her test. I'm not accusing her. I'm just saying, I didn't hear nothing bad, so I'm assuming it's good. You feel me? When you don't hear anything bad about the test, that means it's good. But Alif Nurturhan, the way she beat down Beatrice Fierro, I said, Lord, oh Lord. I'm talking about she had Beatrice Fierro. She had her in there like, fight back.
Let him get up, let him get up, let him get up. Fight back, fight back.
She had her in there like, fight back. But I agree with Joaquin said in the chat. To me, like I said, bro, you can't really do more. What more could you want? The man moved up multiple weight divisions, traversed multiple weight divisions to fight a guy who was not only the man of his division, and that's symbolized by him being undisputed, but he was also considered the face of boxing. And that is Saul Canelo Alvarez, a.k.a. Cinnamon. Terrence Crawford ain't got no business all the way up to 168. He ain't even got no business at 160. He ain't even really had no business at 154. Despite all that, he took a chance winning for the face of boxing and he won. And the reason why I say it's tough is because the performance was great. But you know me, I thought it was a close fight. I had it much closer than what everybody else had it. I scored it 115, 113 in favor of Terrence Bud Crawford. But the performance was just spectacular given all the circumstances surrounding it. You know what I'm saying? And the way he just outclassed another elite fighter. So this was a fight between two all-time greats, a battle between two great fighters that are all-time greats, regardless of the outcome, and one just proved that he's greater than the other one. That's all it is. Canelo's still a Hall of Fame all-time great. Terrence Crawford's still a Hall of Fame all-time great. He's just higher than Canelo. That's all that meant. But that performance, all things considered, I don't see how you could give it to anybody besides Terrence Bud Crawford. You see what I'm saying? But there were some other great performances though, like throughout the year. You know, another great performance was what's my boy's name? I thought Ozzy Iglesias against, granted, it's not at the scale. It's not at the scale of like a Bud and Canelo, but Ozzy Iglesias versus Vladimir Shishkin. That was a good performance. I'm trying to think who else. Shiraz against Berlanga was a great performance. Who else? There was a couple of great performances, man. So for me, I'm going with Terrence Bud Crawford. Oh, Devin Haney and Brian Norman. That was a good performance. I thought that fight was closer to what people thought as well, but that was a great performance. But I got Terrence Bud Crawford. Last year it was Bakram Murtazalia for when he slaughtered Tim Tszyu, but this year's Terrence Crawford. Now, fight of the year. Fight of the year. Hey, Close said Shiraz had Berlanga twerking. He had Berlanga twerking. Oh my goodness, nah, bro. You know I gotta play it, chat. You know I gotta play it, chat. He said he had Berlanga. He said he had Berlanga twerking in the corner like this. Hey, Turhan was hey, yes indeed, boxing. Turhan went crazy. Shout out to the ladies from Turkey. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to her. She from Turkey, and while we was eating that gobble, that turkey, she was in there giving Beatrice that squabble. She was showing that she could squabble for sure. Now let's move on to the fight of the year. Fight of the year. Now this one was tough, chat. Last year it was Beterbiev versus Bivol. This year it could have been Beterbiev versus Bivol for their second fight. They could have ran it back. You see what I'm saying? That was a nominee. Beterbiev versus Bivol. A lot of people forget because it was in February, right? That rematch, fight of the year candidate. Chris Eubank versus Conor Benn, the first one, fight of the year candidate, right? A lot of people forget about this freaky fight, right? This freaky frog, this freaky dog, I should say. A lot of people forget about this fight.
And I can make it rain with my hurricane tongue like la 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 la.
Eastside Pitbull Cruz had two fight of the year candidates, one with Lamont Roach, as shown, and then he also had another fight with Angel Fierro. That was this year. That was a fight of the year candidate, right? And then we also have Lester Martinez versus Christian and Billy. That's fight of the year candidate. We also have another fight on the same card, Canelo and Crawford. That's fight of the year candidate. So there was so many good fights this year. This one was harder for me than a lot of people. I think if you don't really watch boxing that much, I think that this one is actually harder than it seems on the surface. But all those things considered, great fights. Man, I forgot to say for performance of the year. That's what it was. Michaela Mayer was another one I considered for performance of the year over Mary Spencer. That was when she moved up. That was considered for performance of the year as well. Shout out to Michaela Mayer one time for the ladies. That was considered, but like I said, I gave it a bud. But for fight of the year, for me, it was at the little weights, the little guys. Seigo Akui versus Kenshiro Taraji. If you missed that fight, oh, you missed a banger. Like, it went down to the last second, man. 12 rounds, back and forth action. Seigo Akui dang near passed out in the ring. Like, when it got called, you could argue he was winning until he got stopped. Man, that fight, if you have not watched that fight, watch Seigo Akui versus Kenshiro Taraji. To me, that is fight of the year. If you missed that fight, man, I guarantee you, you would not be disappointed. Kenshiro Taraji versus Seigo Akui. For me, Dr. Boxing Talk, that was fight of the year. But there's a lot of great candidates. Like I said, it could have been given. Beterbiev and Bivol could have ran it back, had back-to-back fight of the year for the BTF Awards. But for me, it's Kenshiro Taraji versus Seigo Akui. Now, let's move on, man. Gotta show some love to the smaller weights, you feel me? Now, let's get into the letdown of the year. Oh, y'all gonna love me for this one. Y'all gonna love me for this one. But before we get to it, today is Wednesday, y'all. In 30 minutes, we have the Doc's Corner newsletter that's coming out. So check out this ad that we have for it. So you can't get enough of the Doc? Ladies and gentlemen, don't worry about it. You're not alone, but I do have a fix for you. head over to docscorner.beehive.com where you can find all of the hottest news, the latest news, all real talk, no gimmicks, and no fluff right here at Doc's Corner, a newsletter written by yours truly. In order to sign up, all you have to do is enter your email here. But I will tell you, if your name is still long sweaty big balls at hotmail.com, you will not receive an email from me. Change it or you won't be getting this newsletter, bro. I'm sorry. And it's delivered personally to you right in your inbox every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And always remember, the doctor's in your corner. It was muted. Oh, I was muted. Oh, actually, see, I was muted. Sorry about that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I accidentally clicked on, when I clicked on the ad, I clicked on the mute button on accident. Thank you. Shout out to y'all. But so the newsletter, Doc's Corner, the link is in the chat. Check it out. It's a weekly newsletter dropped every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but it's only for people who are purists of the sport or casuals that want to become purists. Like if you want to know more about the intricacies of the sport and the business of the sport and not the Twitter nonsense and the groupie nonsense, then and the toxic nonsense, then if you want to know more about it, then check out the newsletter. But if you like that goofy stuff, it's not for you. I'm gonna tell you right now, you know what I'm saying? So sign up to the newsletter. It drops in 30 minutes at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You won't regret it. A lot of people love it. So shout out to y'all. Thank y'all for letting me know I was muted. I'm good now, right? I accidentally clicked on the wrong button. I do that sometimes because I have so many buttons. That's why I need me a soundboard, but we going to get that right. You know what I'm saying? Good Lord willing. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, so letdown of the year. This is where y'all going to be hot with me because I think that it's easy. I think letdown of the year is an easy selection, right? For no disrespect. And I don't mean you're a casual if you pick this one. I think that's easy, but I'm saying it's even easier for the casual, right? I think the letdown of the year would be Gervonta Tank Davis, right? I think that's the easy pick.
Yeah.
I think that's the obvious pick.
Yeah.
I think that's the popular pick.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad at anybody who does it, right? But I feel like if you really watch boxing, it's a little more difficult. Doesn't mean that you can't pick him. I'm not saying that if you pick him, you don't really watch boxing. I'm saying that it's a little tougher of a decision if you watch boxing because a lot of guys that, in my opinion, were bigger letdowns are just not as popular. So the average fan wouldn't know about him. So for me, yes, Tank is definitely a letdown because not only did he have the controversial draw, right, that people think he was a beneficiary of, he didn't have the rematch. So I want, as a Tank fan, I want him to run it back with Roach. Win or lose, you got to get that back, bro, because it just seems like the only reason not to fight Roach is because you're scared, and I don't think he's scared. So go run it back, and then you bypass the rematch, and then you go to fight Jake Paul, a fight that nobody wanted. After nobody wanted to see you fight Lamont Roach, then you fight Jake Paul, and then you actually don't even fight Jake Paul. So he's definitely a letdown. So he didn't fight this year besides the draw, and the one time he didn't fight this year besides the one time he fought, and people thought it was a draw, and that he should have been DQ'd or he should have lost, right? So that's a letdown. However, his letdowns are performance based, right? And he tried to fight Lomachenko. So this is the part that I'm talking about. You have to watch boxing to know. He tried to get Lomachenko. Lomachenko, who's the IBF champion, he retired. Cool. I'm not saying Lomachenko ducked. I'm not saying anybody ducked, but he didn't get the fight. Then he tried to get De Los Santos. Sorry, that's not the right order. He tried to get Rayo. Rayo didn't want to fight at 135 anymore. And he was interested in staying at 140. And they couldn't make a deal. And Robert Garcia didn't want that fight. Cool. I'm not mad at it. Not saying anybody ducked. Did what's best for you. Then he pivoted and tried to fight De Los Santos. De Los Santos had an issue acquiring his travel licenses and visas and stuff like that. So then Lamont Roach was a fourth option, and he was a WBA champion, but people don't watch the smaller weights, so they just see him as a smaller guy that they haven't heard of, so they're disappointed. So he did fight, and he just had a performance that wasn't comparable to what we're accustomed to seeing from him. So at least he fought. To me, the other guys that for letdown of the year would be a guy like that could be considered as Keyshawn Davis. But then you got to be like, hold on, Doc. Keyshawn Davis didn't fight, but Keyshawn Davis, he balanced it out because he did acquire his WBO belt when he beat the undefeated Ukrainian Denys Berinchik, right? So that's good for him. So to me, he's a nominee, but he doesn't get the award. Tank could still get the award. To me, Tank surpasses Keyshawn, right? But then you have another guy in Joseph Parker, right? Joseph Parker, I've been telling people he's on a very fraudulent run. People say, oh, Joseph Parker's on a 3-fight win streak. He beat Deontay Wilder. He beat Zhale Zhang. He beat Bacoli. All three of those guys deserve an asterisk by their name when it comes to Joseph Parker. Deontay Wilder, people will tell me that Deontay Wilder is trash. It's so funny that a guy that people say is trash,
Know your fucking place, trash.
he's responsible for the ascension of two guys. Tyson Fury was called the best heavyweight by me. I think Tyson Fury was the best heavyweight before Usyk, right? The Gypsy King of Obesity, he was the best heavyweight to me, right? But he was the best because he beat Deontay Wilder. And a lot of people will agree with that because nobody said Tyson Fury was the best until he beat Deontay Wilder. So if Deontay Wilder is trash, how is beating him make you the best? Contradictory in nature. And then another guy, Joseph Parker, beats Deontay Wilder after Deontay Wilder's almost 40, and he has, I think it was his 48th fight, almost 50 fights. People say, oh, Deontay Wilder's trash. Oh, but Joseph Parker's good. Why? Not because he lost to Anthony Joshua, not because he lost to Dillian White, not because he got knocked out by Joe Joyce, but Joseph Parker became good once he beat, not Jack One Smack Massey, he became good when he beat who? Deontay Wilder. So Deontay Wilder, it's just amazing to me how somebody can be trash and he can literally make you consider that two other guys are good because they beat him. But he's trash though. It's literally contradictory. But anyway, Joseph Parker beat an old, washed up Deontay Wilder, right? Who was almost 40 with almost 50 fights, right? He beat an old Deontay Wilder. Then he beat 42-year-old Zhale Zhang in a fight that was, a lot of people thought that he lost, right? I thought it could have went either way. It's a very close fight, but he won by majority decision after getting dropped twice. And shout out to him. He recovered off of both knockdowns, and then he fought his way to a majority decision victory. I'm not mad at that. Shout out to him and Andy Lee. But it was a very close fight against a 42-year-old Zhale Zhang. And then the Jit Caballel went in there and smoked Zhale Zhang like we anticipated, right? And then he fought Martin Bacoli on a 24 hours notice. The man looked like he was coming off of a straight picnic. In fact, Martin Bacoli wasn't, forget the same country, Martin Bacoli wasn't even on the same continent as his trainer, Billy Nelson. Billy Nelson was in Scotland or something like that, wherever he's from, on the continent of Europe. Martin Bacoli was in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the DRC, on the continent of Africa. That's the people that you gave Joseph Parker credit for beating. Those three. So he fought an old, washed-up Deontay Wilder. He fought a 42-year-old Zhale Zhang you went life and death with. And then he fought a Martin Bacoli off 24 hours notice. He came in there with the picnic plaid pants on with the Yogi Bear belly. That's who you give him credit for. And then I said, and people thought I was hating, right? Because you can't give an opinion and you can't critique people unless you're hating, right? So I said, okay, Joseph Parker, shout out to him. He's on a very fortuitous run. But I said the first time that he fights a live dog, he's going to lose. I didn't even add any further specificity. I didn't care if it was Moses Atama. I didn't care if it was a Jit Caballel. I didn't care if it was Jared Big Baby Anderson. I said the first time he fights somebody that's a live dog, he's going to lose. He fought Fabio Worley. Fabio Worley was the underdog, and Joseph Parker was on coke. And he still lost. Fraudulent. So to me, that's a letdown as well. Because the one time he fought a legitimate boxer and he was the favorite and he was on PEDs, he lost. So that's a letdown for me. To me, that's bigger than Tank. But the one that tops all that, for letdown of the year is none other than the fraud, the faux boogeyman, Janibek Alim Kanuli. That dude is trash.
Know your fucking place, trash.
Everybody considers Janibek Alim Kanuli the default boogeyman, the best in the division. And I get that. He should be the best. I thought he was the best at 160 middleweight because he had two of the four hardwares. He had the WBO belt and the WBO belt and the IBF belt. I almost turned him into Weez Malima. I said the IBO. But yeah, the IBF belt and the WBO belt unified, right? Carlos Adames has the WBC. Erislandy Lara has the WBA. Janibek should be considered the best at 160, right? And he was. But like I tell people all the time, Janibek has not fought anybody. Erislandy Lara, even though he's 42, Erislandy Lara would be the best win on Janibek's resume. And Erislandy Lara has been in the ring with better competition. Erislandy Lara, albeit he has 3 losses, and albeit losses, he's still been in the ring with Canelo. He lost by split decision. He was in the ring with Jared Swift Hurd. He lost by split decision. He was in the ring with Paul the Punisher Williams, one of my favorite fighters. He lost by majority decision. All those wins are kind of controversial in nature, right? I personally thought that even though Canelo's my favorite fighter, I thought Lara beat him, right? But not to mention, those are just his losses. So his losses are better than Janibek's wins, and I'm going to prove it to you, right? But let's talk about his wins. He beat a former champion, Yuri Foreman, right? That's a good win. He just beat Danny Swift Garcia. Even Danny Swift Garcia was old. That would be Janibek's best win. Let's keep it going. He beat Austin No Doubt Trout, right? So he beat a couple fighters that we've heard of, right? Janibek's best wins are Denzel Bentley and Stephen Butler. His other wins are Anuel Namasenge. You never heard of him. You may have heard of Stephen Butler. You may have heard of Denzel Bentley. You're not going to recognize him. You see what I'm saying? His other win was Andre Mikhailovich, another guy you never heard of. So Janibek has beaten guys, and looks good a lot of times, but who has he beaten? You don't know who he beat. You see what I'm saying? So even though Erislandy Lara is literally the oldest active champion in boxing, and Janibek's a weight bully, Janibek still had to come in with PEDs, meldonium. He had to use meldonium to make sure that he beats a guy that's the oldest champion in boxing, that he's already bigger than, because Janibek's really like the size of a light heavyweight if you look at him. Why do you think he always faints and stuff like that, and sometimes has fights canceled? Because he misses, because he's struggling to make weight, because he's trying to weight cut so dramatically and drastically that he hurts himself, self-inflicted damage. So he's a weight bully, a fake boogeyman, and he has to cheat. When he finally gets the unification, when he claims that everybody's scared of him and nobody wants to fight him, they probably don't want to fight you because Carlos Adames probably knew that you were on meldonium. Erislandy Lara probably knew you were on meldonium. All these fighters probably knew you were on meldonium. They probably knew you were cheating. You see what I'm saying? So in my personal opinion, Janibek finally got a unification fight after being called a boogeyman, after calling out everybody, and then you pop dirty and you don't even have a fight. That's a letdown of the year for me. Janibek and Kanuli is definitely the letdown of the year, in my personal opinion, for capping and acting like nobody wants to fight him. Then when you finally get a unification fight against the oldest active champion in boxing, you pop dirty for PEDs and you don't even fight at all. That's the letdown of the year for me by far. So Janibek and Kanuli, he is the letdown of the year. We're going to pack him up. I hope he got some warm clothes, because we're going to pack him up and send him off. You know, I'm in Florida, so you got to pack up warm. We about to send you off right now.
She thought I was going to send her somewhere nice? You're not going to the beach, bitch. You're going to hell.
You going straight to hell with your cheating ass. You try to cheat Erislandy Lara, you going. We send you straight to hell. We ain't send you nowhere nice. We send you straight to hell. Go ahead, pack him up and send him right to the trash like he's supposed to be. You feel me? We gonna toss him right out the house. Yeah, so Janibek is definitely the letdown of the year for 2025 in my personal opinion. But once again, if you think Tank is, boom, Janibek doesn't have the popularity of Tank. So you could argue that he doesn't have the expectations of a Tank because nobody knows him. But just going off of boxing, you know, and I think Kendrick made that argument. That's a great argument, you know, like he doesn't have the expectations, so he can't really let people down. I just disagree with that. I feel like everybody, especially a champion and one that we're gonna call the biggest boogeyman in boxing, you have a responsibility to conduct yourself as a champion, and missing weight habitually and repeatedly, and then popping dirty for PEDs, that's not conducting yourself as a champion at all. So to me, he's the biggest letdown of the year. And he almost killed that card, right? Because a lot of people are looking forward to that fight on that card that he was supposed to fight on the same card as Isaac Pitbull Cruz and Lamont Roach, right? So he significantly watered down that card. So yeah, but shout out to Erislandy Lara. He still fought Johan Gonzalez, and shout out to Johan Gonzalez as well. So yeah, I think he sent her straight to hell. He thought he was gonna send him somewhere nice. No, we not sending you nowhere nice. We not sending you nowhere nice. Packing things up, we send you on the trip.
She thought I was gonna send her somewhere nice. You're not going to the beach, bitch. You're going to hell.
We sending her straight to hell, Chloe. We sending them straight to hell, man. Yeah, trying to cheat people, man. Okay, so next up we have upset of the year. To me, this was pretty easy. I saw some people saying, like, I think Clone didn't say this, but he mentioned that Brian Norman and Devin Haney was a good fight, right? And Devin Haney, the circumstances, right, had him being considered the underdog in some circles, right? But to me, upset of the year is from a person that we don't expect to really have too much of a chance to win. So to me, this was fairly easy for me. But some people would have a difficult time, because I seen some people say that Terrence Crawford won upset of the year because he upset Canelo. And to me, when you're great like Terrence Crawford, you can't, unfortunately, you're just not able to win every award, right? If you're a 5-year player, you can't win Rookie of the Year. No matter how great your year was, you can't win Rookie of the Year, right? You're just unqualified. So for me, I know it's not the same thing, but it's similar in nature, because to me, Terrence Crawford, no matter who he's fighting, he can never win upset of the year unless he's fighting like Usyk or something, like a heavyweight. But like, same with Canelo. Canelo, he's so great that you wouldn't consider him so heavy of an underdog, right? He might go in there and get whooped on by Bivol, but you can't consider it all the things that he's accomplished, two times undisputed, going through so many weight classes, having 60-something fights. You cannot tell me that he's out of the water. You know what I'm saying? Out of his depth, I should say. Like it's in too deep, right? It's still we're always going to believe that Canelo has a chance to win. Naoya Inoue has a chance to win. Like, even if Naoya Inoue goes to 126 and fights Espinosa, you have to give him a chance, right? So even if they are literally technically the underdog, they're so great that we expect them to overcome. Like, Floyd could never win upset of the year. You see what I'm saying? Unless Floyd Mayweather would have fought, like I said, like Lennox Lewis, like a heavyweight or something like that. So for me, Terrence Crawford, even though he was technically the underdog, I can't call him the upset of the year because he's never really, like, his skills are so good. You see what I'm saying? Same with Devin Haney. Like, even if he was the upset against Brian Norman, it's not really upset of the year because Devin Haney, we thought he could win because of his skills, right? We know that he's skilled. So, like, certain guys and girls, like Clarissa Shields, could never win upset of the year, in my personal opinion. Franson Cruz could win upset of the year. She beats Clarissa, but Clarissa can't win upset of the year. Katie Taylor can't win upset of the year. Gabriela Fondora, Gervonta Tank Davis, Usyk, Bivol, they can't really win upset of the year unless they're doing something super crazy, which what Terrence Crawford did. But even still, even despite Terrence Crawford moving up 2 divisions, we still thought Terrence Crawford had a good chance to win. So that's why he's disqualified for me. But if somebody picked him as an upset of the year, I'm cool with it. It is what it is. But for me, it was clearly Jose Armando Resendez beating Caleb Plant. Everybody thought it was a foregone conclusion that Caleb Sweethands Plant, another one of my favorite fighters, the American, fought the Mexican Armando Resendez, a guy that he had familiarity with, a guy that he beat up in sparring and stuff like that. We thought that he was going to win, so much so that, remember, that fight was a stepping stone, if you will, to have the eventual Plant versus Charlo, right? Because Charlo fought Thomas Cornflake Lamana on that card. Caleb Plant fought Jose Armando Resendez. And they were supposed to get through their opponents and then clash. Similarly, how Joseph Parker upset the apple cart when he beat Deontay Wilder. Because remember, Anthony Joshua beat Otto Wallin on that Day of Reckoning card. And Deontay Wilder was supposed to beat Joseph Parker. And then it was supposed to be an eventual clash between Wilder and AJ, right? But that didn't happen. Similar fashion, Armando Resendez upset Caleb Plant and he became the WBA interim champion. So for me, that is the upset of the year. Of course, there's some other ones. Not to kick a dead horse, but even Alif Nurturhan. I wouldn't say that was really an upset, but the way that she beat Beatrice Ferreira could be considered upset of the year. Or even like Tierra Brown beating Sky Nicholson. She was an underdog. That was a close fight. Some people had Sky winning. I thought Sky would win. I like Sky. At that point, I liked Sky more than Tierra Brown. I was rooting for Sky, but I thought Tierra Brown won. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Tierra Brown, the Dark Menace. That's why she was my women fighter of the year, but it is what it is. She could get upset of the year as well. So there's quite a few people that could get upset of the year, but I think it was Armando Resendez. Clone says Resendez fight since then. He hasn't fought since then. There's rumors that he could fight Edgar Berlanga, which I hope not, because I don't think Edgar Berlanga deserves a title shot right now. I actually think I think Canelo's gonna fight him. I ain't gonna lie. Even though the IBF just ordered Ozzy Iglesias and Canelo for the IBF belt, I don't think Canelo's gonna fight that. I think he's gonna fight Resendez. In my personal opinion, I mean, I feel like that's the easiest route to a title at 168. But anyway, yeah, Resendez, he definitely got upset of the year. Now, comeback of the year. Shout out to my guy Clone. He mentioned this guy. Comeback of the year for me is Devin Haney, man. I don't even think that there's an argument. I think Devin Haney is definitively, absolutely the gosh dang comeback of the year, because everybody was dragging him through the dirt for being cheated by the habitual weight bully, PD popping racist Ryan Garcia, right? People are dragging him through the mud, and this man not only beat Jose Carlos Ramirez, who was a former unified champion, he topped that off with moving up to fight one of my favorite fighters, Brian Norman Jr., who I thought would win, at a new division at 147, and beat the guy that literally put somebody into a coma and wiped their memory. You know what I'm saying? He had amnesia involuntarily. You see what I'm saying? Hit him with the neuralizer, whatever it's called from Men in Black. So I think that Brian Norman was considered a monster, aka the assassin, Brian Norman Jr., And while I thought that fight was closer than what a lot of people had it, I had Brian Norman coming on towards the end in the second half of the fight in the latter rounds. I do think the fact that Devin Haney, on top of all the hate, on top of all the doubt, on top of all the people putting smut on his name with a Tom and Jerry nonsense, counting him out, he did come and beat Brian Norman Jr. And I think that he should be, I'm not saying he's the best at 147, but I think everybody would consider him the best because we consider Brian Norman the best. And even though 147 is not a tough division, right? It's considered kind of barren. But if Devin Haney was to fight the WBC champion, American Mario Barrios, Devin Haney would be the favorite. If he was to fight the Irish champion, the Irish IBF champion, Lewis Crocker, Devin Haney would be the favorite. If he was to fight the American WBA champion, Rolly Romero, Devin Haney would be the favorite. So I think he made a big statement. I have him as a comeback of the year. And Devin Debo, a.k.a. the Dream Haney, in my personal opinion. Now, let's go on to the next one we have is the knockout of the year. And to me, this is an easy pick. It's contentious. It's a lot to think about. There's a lot of great knockouts of the year. This is everybody's favorite category. I think there's an obvious choice with this one. I just talked about this guy, Brian Norman Jr. over Jin Sasaki. This man suffered memory loss. That was concussive power. I don't know what else you could pick. Like, don't get me wrong, Ja Bataya, him knocking out Hussein Sankara, that's a good knockout, but he's 40 years old. You know, Hussein Sankara is definitely 40. So you get mad at me, but I didn't control when he was conceived. Hussein Sankara was knocked out, but he was 40.
Damn. I'm sorry.
And he hurt him. And Sankara hurt Ja Bataya. So I think we expected him to knock out his mandatory Hussein Sankara. I think the better knockout of the year for Ja Bataya was David Naika. That was a good knockout stoppage, you know. But to me, it's still not better than Brian Norman over Sasaki. Alif Nur-Turhan again. She stopped Beatrice Vieira. That's a good one. Gabriela Fedora stopping Kubicki, right? Alexis Kubicki for the ladies. That was a good stoppage. But it just fails in comparison. Oh, Bam Rodriguez stopping Puma Martinez. That was a good stoppage. But man, like I said, I just think that Brian Norman, the fashion, how vicious it was. I don't know how you give it to anybody besides Brian Norman for knockout of the year. Fabio Worley is another one. Justice Hooney and Joseph Parker. But I think that Moses Atama, right? Moses Atama stopping Dillian White, and I think Mike Balogan was this year as well. But like I said, I just think that Frank the Ghost Martin, his comeback over Rancis Barthélemy, that was a good stoppage as well. But again, I can't put any of those over Brian Norman. So Brian Norman's a knockout of the year for 2025 for the BTF Awards. Now this is the pen. No, it's not. Okay, we have one. We have the robbery of the year. This is another one that Tank qualifies for, right? I think that Tank qualifies for the robbery of the year as well.
Yeah.
It's just that, you know me, I score fights. I actually scored 7 rounds to 5 in favor of Tank. Now, if you want to say that you want to count the knockdown, even if you included the knockdown, which was in the 5th round when he took the knee, I thought it was a 9-9 round. I thought Tank won the round, which would give it 10-9, but then he had the knockdown. You take away 1 point, it would be 9-9. So I would still have Tank winning, including the knockdown. But I know a lot of people don't think like that. A lot of people thought it was robbery. If you have that as robbery of the year, Tank versus Roach, that's cool. If you have Roach over Pitbull, robbery of the year, I think you're crazy because I don't think that was robbery at all. I think it was a close fight, could have went either way. But if you want to have that, that's fine. Robbery of the year. What else was there was some other ones too that was pretty close. There was another one I had in my mind for robbery of the year. But for me, Navarrete and Charlie Suarez was robbery of the year. There's no, like, if you look at that fight at 130, when he fought when Charlie Suarez, a Filipino contender, fought the Mexican WBO champion Emmanuel Navarrete, that fight was stopped due to a cut that they thought was a headbutt. And if you watch the replay, it's obvious. You can't even debate it. It's indebatable that it was stopped erroneously, and called a headbutt. It was actually a punch. And if the fight is going to be stopped due to a cut that was the result of a punch, Charlie Suarez, we should be looking at a new WBO champion. And with Charlie Suarez having such a small backing, it sucks for him because they're talking about moving on instead of having their immediate rematch, right? They're moving on to Sugar Nunez, which is a great fight. Don't get me wrong. All Mexican war between the IBF Mexican champion Nunez and the WBO champion, Mexican champion Navarrete. That's a great fight. But I think that proper protocol should be followed and Charlie Suarez should get a rematch. But even in the rematch, I think that was the best performance that Charlie Suarez could give. I'm not sure if he could replicate that performance. So I just think that he was kind of robbed out of an opportunity. And but I don't think it was intentional. But to me, that was you could debate what would have happened if the knockdown was called. You could debate if Gervonta Tate Davis would have fought with more urgency and knocked out Lamont Roach. You could also debate that Tank could have fought with more urgency because he was behind and fought with a little bit more reckless abandon and opened up a little bit too much, got too wild, and Lamont Roach could have knocked out Gervonta. But what you can't debate is that was wrongly called a headbutt cut, and it was a punch cut, and Charlie Suarez should be the WBO champion right now. So to me, that was the robbery of the year, in my personal opinion. So shout out to Charlie Suarez. That's just my opinion on that one. Shout out to SD said, at least you're still willing to give it to him. People just threw him away. Yeah, robbery of the year. AJ versus Jake Paul. I just want to die watching that nonsense. Shout out to Close and robbery of the year. AJ versus Jake Paul is crazy. SD Boxer says justice for Suarez. Yep. They showed the hit during the broadcast, slow motion. Yeah. So unfortunately in boxing, which I think should change. If you have like they implemented such procedures in basketball, right? Like you could challenge things and you could go back and review things. And if you now not in all aspects of basketball either, right? Human error, I think, should be allowed. And I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I think human error should be expected. That's why referees are so good, because you want to go with the person that has showed the best discretion, best judgment, and the least amount of human errors. I don't think that everything should be paused, because if you pause things, then the fights, the games, baseball games, basketball games, is going to be so much longer. Tennis matches, they're going to be so much longer. So I don't think that the action should always be paused. But I do think when it's appropriate like that, there was nothing that would have hurt the fight. You already called the fight. Nothing would have changed anything if you would have just got the call right. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not saying stop it in the middle of the fight, but if you already called an ending to the fight, and we've seen the replay during the broadcast, like Yes Indeed Boxing just expressed and articulated in the chat, then nothing would have changed besides Charlie Suarez when it went home in tears. Not saying he was really crying, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying disappointed. So I do think it was appropriate to check out the calls. Like, I'm not saying that you should check judges. Like, if a judge scores a bad scorecard, I'm not saying you should change that. Like Shiraz and Adames, as much as I hated that draw, I thought Adames won. I'm not one that thinks that you should go and revisit it and change it. But when a fight is stopped in the fashion in which it was with Navarrete and Suarez, and you can show it on the broadcast that you got it wrong, then fix it. Nothing stopped it besides egos. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that was robbery of the year. Shout out to my guy Rick Timms, man. He said happy Dr. Yosef Ben Jokanan Day, everybody. Hey, anyway, what's up, Doc in chat? Yo, what's good, Rick Timms, my guy in the building? Yes, sir, man. Shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate you pulling up. You feel me? Who is that? I gotta know who that is, bro. You can't just drop that and not tell me who that is. You feel me? You gotta tell me, bro. You gotta tell me who that is, my brother. You gotta tell me, man. Share with the chat. I'm not familiar who it is. I feel like it's somebody I should know though. But yeah, unfortunately I don't. But speaking on that as well, man. Happy 6th day of Kwanzaa, which is Kumba. You know what I'm saying? It's for creativity. So happy 6th day of Kwanzaa. I forgot to say that at the beginning of the stream. So shout out to Rick Timms. You just reminded me of that. But yeah, man. So I think the robbery of the year is Navarrete and Suarez, Charlie Suarez. Now the penultimate award, which means second to the last, the penultimate award goes to Carlos Utria, man. Carlos Utria out of Colombia. Last year, the winner of this award was Abdullah Mason. And we were right? Because he's a champion now. But this one is Carlos Utria. And this award is the second to the last award that we're going to go over today, the penultimate award, which is the prospect of the year. And that goes to Carlos Utria. Now, this was tough because could I give it to Moses Atama? Of course. Moses Atama could get prospect of the year. What about the youngest active champion in boxing? One time for the ladies. One time for the ladies. It could have went to Zamorano, Camila Zamorano. She's 17. No, she just turned 18. You know, one time for the ladies. She's the youngest champion in boxing right now. She just turned 18. She fights at atomweight. She could get it because she just became a champion, right? As far as being the prospect of the year. But because she's a champion, I can't really call a champion a prospect simultaneously. So, but it was real tough because she should really get it. You know what I'm saying? She's just a prospect that became a champion this year. But Carlos Utria winning the freaking, what's it called? The WBC Grand Prix. That was I don't know if people watched it. It was really early and stuff like that. But that was a hell of a tournament, man. And I just think it's really appropriate that Carlos Utria wins prospect of the year. I don't know how far he's going to go as far as being a champion and being undefeated. I think he can be a champion. I don't know how far he could go. But I'm enjoying watching. So prospect of the year, if you pick Moses Atama, okay. If you pick Pat Brown, okay. You know, there's some other people. You pick Camilo Zamorano, okay. If you picked what's the other young lady from England, the one that Katie Taylor backs and everybody's saying she's so good, and I think she's good. Ty, what's her name, man? Y'all know who I'm talking about. I know Shawa knows who I'm talking about. Oh, what's her name, man? Mia, I ain't gonna lie. I think she's good, but I think she's slightly overrated. But we'll see though once her opponent starts to step up. But she could get prospect of the year as well. There's a lot of ladies doing their thing. I can't remember her name right now. She's young as well. She's like, I don't remember how old she is. She's like 20, something like that. But she's a beast too. But for me, I'm going with Carlos Utria because we know he's been through the fire because that Grand Prix was definitely fire. They was weeding him out, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to Carlos Utria. To me, he's a prospect of the year. Yeah, I can't remember her name. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Matter of fact, no, I feel like I'm disrespecting her right now. I gotta look up who she is. Future women. See, what's her name, man? I feel like I'm being disrespectful. I cannot think of her name right now, man. Yeah, I know you know who I'm talking about. Why can't I think of her name? She's with Matchroom. I can see her face and everything, man. I'm starting to get... Everybody says she's a future. I gotta find it out. I cannot remember her name, man. I can't find it. That's crazy. She's been everywhere too. Shout out to her. Mia something, man. I cannot find her freaking name, bro. Tia Ayton, that's it. Tia. I said Mia, my bad. Mia Ayton. I said Mia. Tia Ayton, thank you. Yeah, Tia Ayton. Keep an eye out for Tia Ayton. Yeah, she's good. I just don't know how good she is. But yeah, this is her right here. Tia Ayton right here. So keep an eye out for Tia Ayton. Tia Mai Ayton. That's why I said Mai. Yeah, Tia Mai Ayton is her name. Tia Mai Ayton. Yeah. But yeah, y'all keep a lookout for her. She's definitely doing her thing. I just don't know if she's as great as everybody says. We'll see, though. Just like most of the time. You know me, I'm always skeptical, though. I was skeptical of Tank when he first came out. I'm skeptical of Carmel Moten. I'm skeptical of Moses Atama. I'm skeptical of Emiliano Vargas. I'm skeptical of TA. Hey, it takes me a while to get on the bandwagon, you know what I'm saying? But she definitely looking good so far. Now, for the last one. And that is the forecast of the year. This is another award that is unique to the channel. It is called the forecast of the year. This is where we predict who's going to have the biggest year next year. Last year, we said Junto Nakatani, and I thought I was pretty correct, right? This year saw Junto Nakatani not only move to a new division at 122 and win a tough fight, but before that, he became the unified WBC IBF Ring Magazine champion at 118. So I feel like I did pretty good with that prediction. Now, my next prediction before that, though, was Liam Paro. And remember, Liam Paro, the year before that, he went on and upset Subriel Matias. He did lose to Richardson Hitchens next, but the fact that he went in Subriel Matias' backyard and I called the upset and he upset Subriel Matias, I thought I did pretty good with that forecast, even though he ended up losing to Richardson Hitchens. But I thought that was a good prediction, man. He became a champion. Then this one, the forecast of the year, who I think is going to have the biggest 2026, good Lord willing, I think it's going to be none other than Jerron Boots Ennis. For me, the last award goes to Jerron Boots Ennis, which is the forecast of the year. I think Jerron Boots Ennis is going to do some things at 154. I think that I'm very, call me a hopeless optimist, you know, I don't know. I think that a ridiculous optimist, unrealistic dreamer, but I do think that Boots is going to fight Virgil. I think that fight's going to happen next year. I don't know when, but I think it's going to happen. And I think Boots is going to become a champion at 154. I don't know if it's going to be fighting the winner of Bakram Murtazaliev and Josh Kelly for Bakram's IBF belt. I don't know if it's going to be fighting the winner of the phenomenal unification matchup that we had between Puerto Rican American WBO champion Xander Zayas and Togolese German WBA champion Abbas Barau. You know, I don't know if Boots is going to get the winner of that because he is the WBA interim champion, or if he's going to get the WBC interim champion, Virgil Ortiz, or he's going to get the winner for the WBC full belt between Sebastian Fundora and Keith Thurman. Either way, by hook or by crook, I think that Boots will get a title shot. I think he'll win a title. And I think that you might even see him be unified, but I think he's going to fight Virgil Ortiz too. So I think 2026 good little win is going to be big for Boots. So let's check out that is it for the Boxing Talk Family Awards. Let's check it out, man. Let's check it out. This is what it looks like right here. Oh, the last award I want to talk about too is the most important award. The last award is the most important award. A little stuffed up, my bad. And that is the Caller of the Year, chat. The Callers of the Year, plural. The Callers of the Year are Ty, Mr. Bodega, Oscar El Jefe, and Oster OGO. They always calling in and keeping the conversation going in the chat. When they're not calling in, they're keeping the conversation going in the chat. When they're calling in, they're always contributing in a positive aspect, even whether they agree or disagree. Is never a negative interaction because they're always ready to verbalize their points and get other people going and get other people into the chat, you know, to talk about it. So that is the awards. We're going to go right back through it real quick. So the Boxing Talk Family BTF Boxing Awards for 2025. Your pound for pound king is Terrence Crawford. Your fighter of the year is Terrence Crawford. Your women fighter of the year is Clarissa Shields. The buzz of the year is Lamont Roach. The trainer of the year is Bozy Ennis. Performance of the year is Terrence Bud Crawford. Man, hey, Bud racked him up. The fight of the year is Kenshiro Taraji versus Sego Akui. The letdown of the year is Janibek Alimkanuli. Dang, that rhymed. Akui, Anuli. The upset of the year is Caleb Plant losing to Jose Armando Resendez. The comeback of the year is Devin Haney. The knockout of the year is Brian Norman Jr. over Jin Sasaki. The robbery of the year is Emmanuel Navarrete getting a draw with Charlie Suarez. Was it a draw or no contest? It was a draw, right? Charlie Suarez should have won that. The prospect of the year is Carlos Otria. And the forecast of the year is Jerron Ennis. The red font indicates the people who won last year. So for example, Terrence Crawford repeated as a pound for pound king. He won last year. The fighter of the year last year was Triple D. The trainer of the year last year was Robert Garcia. Performance of the year is Bakram Murtazalia. The buzz of the year last year was Clarissa Shields, so you get it. The knockout of the year was Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou. You get it. Prayers up for Anthony Joshua, particularly his family. I mean, particularly his friends that he lost and the family of his friends that he lost. You know, that was who weren't just his friends; they were also his team members. You know what I'm saying? So rest in peace to C. Nagami and Kevin Latif Ayodele. You know, so rest in peace to them and our condolences to their families and their loved ones that are affected. You know, shout out to Smoochie said no dumbass of the year award. That might be Janibek again. You know what I'm saying? Big H Productions in the building. What's good, bro? Big UK in the building. Shout out to you, man. Happy New Year, my brother. God bless, man. Y'all, don't forget to smack that like button for your boy. I appreciate it. Don't forget to smack that like button. Rick Tibbs said Bud is a bad man. Yes, sir. He says, Rick Tibbs says he would have been 107 years old today. He was a warrior scholar who spent his life trying to wake up our beautiful black people. Hey, shout out to him. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him. He says, top-notch historian who spoke our authentic truths, hidden and suppressed truths. Yes, sir. Happy Dr. Yosef Ben Jokanan Day. Shout out to you, bro. I appreciate you enlightening us with that information, bro. Thank you. I appreciate that, Rick. That's dope. I'm going to have to do my research on him, man. Shout out to you. Clone said, man, how I ain't get nominated for Call of the Year. Doc, man, hey, bro, you got the energy. You just ain't have the frequency, bro. You know what I'm saying? Shawa had the energy. She ain't had the frequency. You know what I'm saying? Smoochie got the energy. She ain't got the frequency, man. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Thomas was close. Thomas Hill, man, T Hill, but he ain't the frequency, man. You know what I'm saying? And when you got the energy, that's fire. I love it. But Ty got the energy, Oscar got the energy, Oster got the energy, and they got the frequency. It's tough to top that. You feel me? Nah, but shout out to everybody that called in, man. Just draw calls in too. Everybody calls. I appreciate all that. You know. But yeah, man, we about to open up the phone lines. This is gonna be a short show. If anybody's in the back, I don't see anybody in the back. That's kind of good because I'm hungry. And I'm a little stuffed up too. So I appreciate everybody contributing to the chat. Like I said, it's 12 o'clock. So the newsletter just dropped, chat. The newsletter just dropped. Sign up for Doc's Quarter. If you did not receive the email, you should have received it. You know what I'm saying? Those of you that are signed up. Check out the newsletter. You know what I'm saying? docscorner.beehive.com, and is in the chat right now. Hey, if you want real boxing, real talk all the time, prioritizing facts over feelings, unbiased, educated discussions, check out the newsletter written by yours truly. Those of you that are signed up already, shout out to y'all. You know what I'm saying? It is just dropped at 12 o'clock every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Issue number 8, chat. 8 weeks we've been doing it, man. 2 months. We 2 months strong already. Sheesh. Man, so I appreciate y'all rocking as always, man. Don't forget to check out the newsletter as well. And we're going to drop these socials on y'all. For your listening pleasure, we are now on Spotify under Dr. Boxing Talk. The same thing on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, everything. Dr. Boxing Talk, man. Come rock with us. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I appreciate y'all rocking for real. I'm going to go ahead and call it. Get me some food. Smoochie says in 2026, good Lord willing, I'm going to be more active. That's what I'm talking about. Nah, I know you're busy with life. Everybody got life. You know, we might not be able to understand much about each other, but we do understand that we all live this life, and life is gets busy and hectic. So at a whim too. So shout out to Smoochie though. I appreciate y'all, man. I'm about to go ahead and slide. Shout out to all the members. I thank y'all so much for tuning in. Thank y'all so much for contributing to the space. Thank you for making us on our way to becoming the face of this boxing talk things, man. You know what I'm saying? We gonna grow. We gonna keep growing, man. We just hit 4,300 subscribers. Man, our watch time is up. Our members are up. Our viewership are up. This is just the beginning, but hey, man, we up, man. We up, man. The watch time hours is what we need. That's what we need. The watch time to go up, and we need the just watch time up. And of course, we always want the revenue up, of course, but that's coming up too. You know what I'm saying? So that all goes with it. So, you know, I appreciate the super chats. I appreciate everybody in any capacity that they contributed, not just of this year, but the year before and the year to come, you know, the years to come, plural, good Lord willing, as long as God blesses us there. So thank y'all for support for 2025 in any capacity, from the super chats, the donation, the memberships, the gifted memberships, the likes, the comments, you know what I'm saying, the chat interactions, the encouragement, the shares, the retweets, everything, man. Follow your boy on every social. We are going. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on YouTube, of course. Everything. You feel what I'm saying? Blue Sky. Gosh dang. Check out the newsletter. We keep going and growing, man. If you can help in a free capacity, that helps a lot as well. So those of you that go in your pockets and contribute to the channel, oh my goodness, you touch a brother heart. You warm a brother heart, man. You know what I'm saying? Make me shed tears at night. You feel me? So I appreciate y'all, man. Especially the members. Y'all take care of yourselves. On to 2026, y'all. We're on to 2026. 2025 is almost a wrap. We just want to thank God that he let us here. Happy 5th day of Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year and happy holidays. So whatever you observe or don't observe, make sure you do it with some loved ones. And the doctor's out. Peace. From the hood to college, both worlds they had to meet. 6 degrees between us, so cold, we're about to freeze. But we're Florida boys, hot takes, we bring the heat. We're moving the culture, the engineers to the streets.